Welcome to course number 3 under the core pillar. Here we're going to look at the phases of life, understanding the seasons of growth as a teacher. As morning turns to afternoon and afternoon to nighttime, so does our life. Our lives go through phases. So we learn, we earn, we yearn. These are typically the 3 phases, and today we're going to add a 4th one, which says that we give back to society, right? So you can think about it in terms of summer, spring, autumn, and winter. All these seasons can be compared to the phases of our life. Each phase, we look at it as a gift. So we encourage you to look at each phase as a gift, no matter what the challenge is. Each phase is a gift. Every age, every phase requires a planting and a harvesting. One moment you're learning, the next moment you're earning, the next moment you're yearning, the next minute you're giving. So we look at it in terms of learning plants the seed, earning meets the need, yearning sows the deed, and returning gives the creed. Right? Should I go over it again? Learning plants the seed, earning meets the need, yearning sows the deed rather, and then returning gives the creed. So a teacher's life is sacred, or you can look at it as a sacred flame, different faces, yet one name. You are not behind. You are in your own season. Just as the earth has spring, summer, autumn, and winter, teachers have these seasons too. In fact, we all do. No matter who you are, no matter what your profession, there are about 4 phases of every person's life. And your children are currently going through their very first phase, the learning phase. And it's important that you help them to pay attention to it, because it would impact their earning, and so would it impact their earning and their giving back to society phases as well. So each teacher's impact has no end, essentially. Just as the earth has seasons, so does human life. And the sooner we learn to recognize the times and the seasons, the better we're likely to become. The most powerful aspect about this for a teacher is that while you're moving through your own phase, you're also teaching and guiding your learners and working with parents as well from all manner of generations to ascertain same. To understand your season, you must also understand theirs. So let's start with the learning phase, which is typically the phase ages 0 to 25. Currently the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas, right? So this is the phase of discovery. Most of this age group today are called the Gen Zs, born between 1997 and 2012, and the Gen Alphas, who were born during the 2013 and after, right? They are tech natives. You put a phone down, you put a computer down, and they can do basically anything with it. They're impatient with old system and values authenticity. So they don't want us to be caricature versions of other people. They want us to be ourselves and fully present. Deloitte, in a 2023 survey, revealed that 46% of Gen Z say mental health challenges affect their ability to perform at work and in school as well. For teachers, this is where you too were once a student, a trainee. Now you're also guiding these people through theirs. What can you do? How do you go back to the fact that you were there before, you have been there before, and therefore you're better able to empathize with these learners and to be able to connect at a deeper level? How can you adapt your teaching to meet the mindset of today's learner? Not just how you were taught, but how they would better receive and assimilate this information so they can transfer it into something practical to solve a problem. After all, they are tomorrow's decision makers. Therefore, it's in your interest, when you're old and weary, that these children are able to make better decisions, right? This is the time for most learning to take place, and it will determine what happens in the next phase of their life, the earning phase. In silent contemplation, how did this phase affect your current state? A number of people say that we're not making a lot of money. We know teachers say a lot of the times that their money is not enough. In fact, we all don't feel that our money is enough. That said, there is something that we did consciously or unconsciously that has contributed to the level of our earning today. What could that possibly be? And how can you leverage that to do much better going forward, whether you're still within this phase or moving to your next phase? Will your molding as a teacher help your next phase? Would it help your learners today? If it wouldn't, please take a moment to decide to course correct it. The second phase is the earning phase, which is between the ages of 26 and 50, the millennials and the Gen Zs. Majority of teachers are millennials, born between 1981 and 1996, or younger Gen Xers, who were born somewhere around 1965 and 1980. This group believe in balancing family life, finances, and career. They value flexibility, recognition, and balance. Do you see yourself in this group? An Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in a 2020 report announced that 60% of teachers quit within the first 5 years, most of them millennials, juggling too much at the same time. For teachers, this is the grind phase, if you would, where you need to make money, you need to maybe want to have children. It's also where you can have the greatest classroom impact. What goals can you set to harmonize the need to make money and the need to influence or to impact? Third is the yearning phase, between the ages of 51 and 75. Older Gen Xers and baby boomers, as they call them. Given that the retirement age isn't up for some of you within this age bracket, we believe that you may still be at work and feeling perhaps exhausted, not all the time. Some may have retired from regular employment to pursue their childhood dreams. Retirement, in our opinion, is pursuing your heart's desires. After the bills have been paid, the bills have been settled, you have a roof over your head, you have food to eat, and you can afford to wake up and do what you want when you want to do it. Whatever the situation, you like to reflect more, mentor more, and yearn for legacy over income at this stage. This has been buttressed by a Gallup 2019 research that discovered that older professionals who mentor report 25% higher life satisfaction than those who don't. For teachers, this is where wisdom speaks louder than energy. Your role is not just teaching, but also mentoring and shaping the next generation of leaders. If you retired today, what story would your students tell about you? It's important. What would you do to continue giving back to society? Would you help a struggling student, enable schools to put their systems and structures in place during the term? What would you do? What does your retirement look like? Finally, we have what we are calling a bonus, the returning phase. This is after age 75. We believe that elders as wisdom keepers. So here, because majority of us have bought into the narrative that we are tired and need a break from the realities of life, we give up on ourselves too quickly, and we give up on others as well. Few teachers remain active in this phase, but elders shape society through storytelling, spiritual guidance, and cultural memory. Elders here often play the role of grandparents, community advisors, or moral anchors. In Ghanaian culture, elders are the living libraries. We believe that they carry traditions, songs, folklore, wisdom that cannot be Googled. You are more than enough at every single phase. You only need to tap into your inner wisdom and strength. And UNESCO discovered that communities that actively involve elders in education see a 20% higher transmission of cultural values and identity to younger generations than we do see today. Maya Angelou, an American poet and civil rights activist, wrote that in the end, we will be remembered not for what we earned, but for what we gave. What are you giving back to society? An African adage also says that when an old man dies, a library burns to the ground. Before a library burns to the ground, what would you like to leave behind? What is the story you're writing for this phase of your life, whether you are in it yet or preparing for it? What library are you building today that future generations will inherit from you? And it doesn't have to be a physical one. Are you teaching in a way that your lessons will outlive you? Life is both personal and generational. Understanding the time and the seasons enable us to stay grounded and anchored in our truth, where we generate the necessary power to impact lives. You may be a millennial teacher guiding a Gen Z learner, or a Gen X teacher mentoring millennial colleagues, or a baby boomer teacher passing wisdom to the whole society. Don't compare your 30s to someone else's 60s. Instead, embrace the phase that you're in right now. Respect your phase, respect their phase as well, and bloom where you have been planted. In closing this particular lesson, remember that each phase builds upon the other, and it is important to pay attention to each one of them. The learning phase is from 0 to 25, where you're building the foundation. This is where you learn, and you have the capacity to learn more than anything else. This is the phase where it said that between the ages of 0 to 7, you can cement a lot of values and learning. Children have the capacity to learn more than 7 languages in this particular phase, and you should be able to give them that. The earning phase is between the ages of 26 and 50, and here you're trying to harmonize your energy as well as your impact. So how do you do that? Then we look at the yearning phase, which is the 51 to 75. And today, thanks to good health care, we're all living much longer. So focus on legacy and mentoring. And in your returning phase, which is after the age of 75, you give back wisdom, faith, and cultural memory. Do not compare your learning with someone else's earning, or your yearning with someone else's returning. Each phase has its own beauty, its own burdens, its own blessings. So do make a commitment to enjoy each phase of your life. Thank you for joining us for Course 3.